All right, today we're going to break down the key ideas from the book, The End of Tomorrow. Think of this as your guide to finally understanding why we put off our most important goals. Let's dive in.
So think about it for a second. What about that New Year's resolution you made to finally get in shape? Or that brilliant business idea you sketched out on a napkin? You know, the one that was going to change everything. Where did all those incredible plans and dreams go?
Well, chances are they're all hiding behind that one single, all too familiar phrase, "I'll do it tomorrow." And that magical land of tomorrow, well, it never quite seems to arrive, does it? We beat ourselves up, we call it laziness, but the real psychology behind it is actually way more fascinating.
Okay, so this is absolutely crucial. Procrastination is not you being lazy. It's not some deep character flaw you need to feel guilty about. The book frames it as a complex, psychological defense mechanism. It's basically a shield that your mind creates to protect you from some really tough feelings. And once you get that, you can stop blaming yourself and actually start looking for a real solution.
This brings us right to the heart of it. You see, to really get a handle on procrastination, we have to look underneath the hood at the powerful and often totally hidden emotions that are really driving the bus. So let's explore these hidden fears that fuel our delays.
So the authors break it down into 3 core fears that often disguise themselves as procrastination. First, you've got the one we all know, the fear of failure. But then there are 2 others that are just as powerful and maybe a little more surprising, the fear of success and the fear of losing control.
Let's make the fear of failure real with an example from the book. There's a guy named Ammon, a super talented singer. His friends were always pushing him, "You gotta enter this competition." But his excuse was always the same, "I'm not ready yet." The real reason, though? He was terrified that if he lost, everyone would laugh at him. So that fear created this endless cycle of delay, all just to protect himself from feeling embarrassed.
Now, the fear of success, that one can be just as paralyzing, even if it sounds a little weird. Take Neha, a fantastic cook, who everyone told should open her own cafe, but she never did. And why? She was scared that if the cafe actually became a hit, she'd be under constant pressure to be that good forever. The fear of that sustained pressure was so huge that her mind's solution was simple: just never start.
So it's not just these deep fears holding us back. Sometimes our own thought patterns build a cage that keeps us stuck. Let's get into the common mental traps that really pour fuel on the fire of procrastination.
And one of the biggest traps out there is perfectionism, this all-or-nothing thinking. You know, the perfectionist mind basically says, if this isn't flawless, it's a complete failure. The book talks about a writer who stared at a blank page for months, totally paralyzed because he couldn't come up with the perfect opening sentence. The antidote? You have to embrace this idea that good enough is the new perfect. An imperfect start is always better than a perfect plan that never even begins.
Then, of course, we have to deal with our inner critic. Oh, you know that voice? It's that little whisper inside that says, "You can't do this. You're going to fail. Who do you think you are?" That voice gives procrastination all its power. And here's the crazy thing. It seems like an enemy, but its real intention is actually to protect you. It's trying to save you from the potential pain of failure.
So how in the world do you deal with it? Well, the trick isn't to fight back or tell it to shut up. Instead, you get curious. The next time you hear that voice, just calmly ask it a simple question. What are you trying to protect me from? The moment you understand its motivation, you take away its power. You can literally thank it for trying to keep you safe, and then go do the thing you want to do anyway. And of course, there are a few other classic traps. We have this really weird relationship with time, right? We think our future self is going to be this superhero with endless motivation. We also choose the instant buzz of scrolling on our phones over the long-term satisfaction of our goals. And we look at a big project like it's Mount Everest, which just paralyzes us before we even take a single step.
Okay, so we get the why. Now let's talk about the how. This next section is all about building your own personal anti-procrastination toolkit, full of practical, actionable strategies you can literally start using today.
First up is this brilliant technique the authors call the Swiss cheese method. Picture that huge, overwhelming task as a big, solid block of cheese. The thought of eating it all in one go is just too much. So don't. Your only job is to poke one tiny hole in it. Just work on it for 10 or 15 minutes. That's it. These small, non-threatening actions build momentum, and eventually enough of those little holes will make the whole block disappear.
This slide breaks down a few more really powerful strategies. So instead of a fuzzy goal like get healthy, make it a smart goal. I will walk for 20 minutes 3 times this week. super specific. If you're someone who only works under pressure, we'll create your own pressure with self-imposed deadlines. And for those boring tasks you dread, try temptation bundling. You pair something you have to do, like chores, with something you want to do, like only listening to your favorite podcast while you're doing them.
Okay, this one is huge. Our world today is basically a minefield of distractions. You have to actively take control of your environment. You want to make it easy to do the right thing and hard to do the wrong thing. So when it's time to focus, put your phone in another room. Close all those browser tabs that have nothing to do with your task. You're basically reducing the friction to getting started and increasing the friction to getting distracted.
Now, all of these tools are fantastic, but the ultimate victory, the real win, comes from a fundamental shift in how you see yourself. This is about moving beyond just managing procrastination to truly becoming an action taker.
This quote from the book is a complete game changer. Seriously, we are all taught to wait around for motivation to strike before we start working, but that is completely backwards. The authors argued that action itself is the engine that creates motivation. You don't wait to feel like it, you just start doing it, and the feeling of motivation follows.
And that leads to the most powerful shift of them all, your identity. You have to stop telling yourself, I am a procrastinator, like it's this permanent brand on your soul. Instead, you frame it as a choice you make. Every time you take a small action, you are reinforcing a new identity. I am an action taker. It's not about who you are, it's about what you do.
So what's the path forward? It involves a few key mindsets. First, and this is a big one, practice self-compassion. You are going to slip up. It's just part of the process. Don't beat yourself up, just gently get back on track. Second, celebrate your small wins. That's how you build that positive momentum. And maybe most importantly, remember that you are not your work. Your value as a human being is not tied to your productivity. Your worth is inherent. Ultimately, after understanding the fears, the mental traps, and all these amazing tools, it all just boils down to a single choice you have to make. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Which of the many, many things you've pushed off until tomorrow will you decide to make your today?